Years ago, a trip on the City Rail train was quite uneventful. People would sit and read a book or maybe a newspaper. There has been a disturbing new trend happening on trains lately, and that is the consumption of hot coffees during peak hour. What is the cause of this rather disturbing new trend? Well, railway commuters now have ready access to coffee kiosks at railway stations. And although I commend these businesses to serve the needs of time-starved rush commuters by giving them a coffee, I would like to propose that hot drinks be banned on peak hour trains. And I want to tell you why. Because years ago, if you wanted to have a coffee, you would sit in a cafe and enjoy it out of a porcelain cup. Now, people are taking the coffee onto the train using the carriage as a cafe on wheels. Now, personally, I think people should not be drinking coffee on the trains. It's actually annoying to other passengers, and even if you don't spill it on someone, you're going to get other people angry. Now, the reasons I think for getting rid of coffee, first of all, is the aroma. Now, I love the aroma of freshly ground coffee, especially when it's for me. But if I've got to sit next to someone on the train with their beautifully made coffee, probably made by a wanker, and actually I think, oh, you know, I want to be drinking that coffee. The second problem with the coffee is what happens when it spills. The other day I saw this businessman get on the train with a large coffee. He sat down, put it on the ground, got out the briefcase. The inevitable happened. We know what City Rail drivers are like. There was a massive jerk. The cup went, it was obeying the laws of physics. Suddenly there's this tsunami of brown hot coffee rushing down the corridor, washing the feet of other commuters and wetting a few backpacks in the process. Now, the man was obviously quite helpless. I mean, he should have cleaned it up, but who carries paper towels in their briefcase? He sheepishly took out some paper, you know, something like that, and laid it over the coffee, but unfortunately it didn't really happen. So that really is a hazard. Another morning I was sitting down and I saw an empty seat in front of me. I thought, oh, some people are going to be lucky this morning. I watched commuters come on, they looked down at the seat and their faces dropped in disappointment. And I looked up because there was a puddle of coffee on the seat and some more spills. So that really, the coffee really is a mess. And the other thing too is that I've also noticed how commuters try and do too much. I saw another young up-and-coming business guy get on the train. He had his coffee in one hand, iPhone in the other. I thought, okay, that's all right, 2 hands, 2 objects. He sits down and then he's sort of holding one and then he pulls the iPad out, he's balancing it on his knee and he's operating, you know, sipping coffee and checking messages and you know how iPads work, you need finger gestures. And I thought it would be really dangerous if I was sitting next to him and he got a bit carried away with the iPod and suddenly whoosh, you know, the hot coffee gets spilt over my leg and I have to be rushed off to hospital. So, and the other thing too is, of course, coffee consumers, a lot of them, they leave the rubbish behind, so it contributes to the rubbish problem. But the big question is, why do people drink coffee on the train? Now, we all know that coffee makes you alert and aware of your surroundings. But on the train, do you really need to be alert? I mean, you're not the driver. I mean, do you really need to be so alert that you thought, oh, 15 people got off at St Leonard's. Oh, 10 got on at Wollstonecraft. No, you should relax with your journey, keep it half asleep, because many coffee consumers don't realise that you can buy coffee at the end of your journey. When you get off the train, leave the exit gates. You can buy a coffee, say at North Sydney or the Wynyard Town Hall, and you can then take it back to your office and enjoy it. Now, another thing about the coffee is that I think all these consumers are thinking back to the times when the railways actually encouraged us to eat and drink on the train. And we had dining cars. Now, many of the younger people here wouldn't know what I'm talking about because they got phased out in the 1980s. We also had smoking cars, which were, actually when I was a uni student, they were good to get a seat because there weren't so many people on, but oh, pretty smelly and disgusting. Now, City Rail has quiet carriages. They're not meant to make lots of noise. So I think that the coffee consumers have got this long overdue plea to City Rail to please introduce a coffee carriage so they can sit there and enjoy the coffee. I'd like to propose that the coffee be banned on the train and that the coffee kiosks only serve coffee to people who actually leave the train. So it's an exit-only sale. And then we're going to be saved that problem. So I would say that if we only have coffee on the way out, the same way that railways have set up or pick up, set down type stations, coffee's just on the takeout. So I would say that the only thing that you should ever take onto a train should be a newspaper.